What's up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. NBA Talk with Jay. I know we're doing NBA Talk with Jay Money and the Shark. It's Saturday. It's multiple sports going. We got college basketball. We got NBA going. College football. Everything, my guys. Everything. So, what's up with you, brother? Everything cool with you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Saturday, November 13th, 2021, a day in the life of the Shark and Jay Money and our amazing followers. Interactions are going off the charts. We see the pre-chat, post-chat. We appreciate you guys more than anything. Follow us on Twitter. A lot of our interactions come on Twitter, but we're trying to grow this YouTube channel because, of course, we know video content in this world is on YouTube. We want to grow this to 10,000, 100,000 followers and just bring in like-minded, intelligent people that love NBA basketball, love to cap it, love to watch it, love to dominate it, and love to respect it. Not a big card today. 7 games, 1 matinee. J Money is money. Lead the way.
Yeah, man, we're trying to get to 1 million followers, might as well, man. So we know there's millions of people out there betting. We're just trying to get the help from you guys just to touch other people, man. So if you can subscribe, hey, share the show, all this, man. Twitter, retweet, all that. We're trying to get 1 million people watching. But let's get to it, man. Straight down to business. We're going to the streets of Utah here. First game up today. Pretty early start here for the Heat here, not for the Heat, but for the Jazz. So it's a little matinee, like you say, Shark. We got the revenge game here. The Jazz line opened up at 7.5, I believe. It's now down to 7. Obviously, Jimmy Butler here is questionable. It's going to be huge with the line, whether he's in or out. The line could move a few points. Well, if he's out, it'll probably just go up maybe no much further than 8. If he's in, you could possibly go down to maybe 5 here, Shark. What do you think about this one? Total of 214 as well.
Yeah, I think this is a really tough game to cap. This board standing out originally nothing really stood out to me. When you look at this, you do get the revenge game, of course. We did have that correctly last weekend. Miami did cover at -2.5 by a hook. Comes back in here at -7. Of course, as you suggested, Jimmy Butler has an ankle injury. He did go out in the first quarter in Staples against the Lakers. That was not advantageous, of course, to a Heat take there. The question is this a good Heat take here? I don't think so, really. Utah here off a loss, a very, very lackluster effort against Indiana. Utah, again, is an emotional group. I think they bounce back similar to the Knicks, also a revenge game. So you get an outright loss coming in and a revenge game, and the numbers jumping up. Again, 2.5 should be 5.5. It's 7. It is showcasing strength. Yes, Jimmy Butler might be out, but again, that strength is being noted in the line here. 5 p.m. is your ultimate abstract environment for both teams. Of course, they're not used to playing professional hoops at this hour on their body time, so it does add a tough element to cap there. I have nothing official on this. I would make a comment on the total. 214 is obviously quite a bit lower than the outcome in Miami. And I think that they're telling you this game could be a little bit lackluster. It could be because of the time of the day. They're not expecting the pace to be there, or just the shooting percentage at 3 p.m. Mountain Time or whatever it is for the guys to be able to see the hoop at an efficient rate. But nothing official for me here, but NBA TV 5 o'clock. I'll definitely have this game on, Jay.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it is an NBA TV game as well, my guys, like you said. So I actually lean Heat here. It's Heat or nothing for me in this spot. They are 3 straight losses. It's crazy to say, but the earlier start here, because like we know this is an East Coast team on the West Coast, kind of sort. I mean, Utah kind of a little funk mountain time or whatever, but still, it's still Western on the Western Hemisphere, I guess you say. But regardless, I think that this early start may help the Heat. It's not so much a late start like they were playing versus LA versus LA, the Clippers and the Lakers here. So I know I like to hop on the revenge spots. Not always, though. I'd be looking towards the Heat here. Obviously, if Jimmy Butler is ruled in, this line will go down to at least +5, right where it should be with the full squads in this one. So, but even without Jimmy Butler, I think they have the squad here to get it done. When you beat the Jazz, when you stick with the Jazz, you have to guard the 3-point line, and the Heat have one, like I always say, one of the better perimeter defenses in the league, my guys. So It's Heat plus the 7 here or nothing for me. I'd even lean Heat in the first half as well. I know the Jazz coming off that bad loss versus the Pacers, but the Heat are also coming this road trip. They've lost all 3 games, so I know they're going to turn up here. They're catching a couple of buckets. I'd be looking towards the Heat in this one, Shark. Let's get to the next game here. Talk about those Pacers, man. They're coming off a 4-game road trip. Real funky spot for the Pacers here. Come off a 4-game road trip. You come into the house for a one-off. Then you head back on the road for another road trip, in my opinion. So it's a tough spot for the Pacers. They should have LeVert back. I'm not sure. You might want to check that injury report here. They did get Brogdon back. Man, the Sixers actually been good on the road here, Shark. I mean, they're 4-1 against the spread and straight up so far on the road. They're coming off 3 straight losses, all at the house. They got Tobias Harris back. He got a game under his belt after the COVID. They got Curry back. Obviously, Joel Embiid still out. Thibault still out. I still lean the Sixers here, though. The Sixers are nothing for me in this one, plus the points. It's a funky game. The Pacers have been hot, seem to figure something out, but I think it's a really bad spot for them, in my opinion. I'd be looking towards the Sixers in this spot.
Yeah, this is a tough game to cap. Of course, you stated it. Pacers off a 4-game road trip coming home. Representative trip, too. 3-1 ATS. The only loss was, of course, the Ciroc on Ice game to Denver. And they've been competitive the whole season. I mean, their record is very misrepresentative. 5-8 on the campaign. They've lost multiple games in overtime. They are, I believe, 4-3 last 7. All their losses have come within 3 or 4 points of the money line. This team is a continued buy team. Of course, we made the comment preseason. Rick Carlisle coming over here off of a Bjorkgren track meet, no defense season last year, where this team just completely underachieved. They're a buy team.
Sorry. No, I'm trying to share the show. I'm trying to share the show again, my guy.
This is what we do. We watch ourselves while we're on the air. We are the ultimate narcissists here. It's a beautiful thing. But all jokes aside, Pacers come in here. They are a sustained buy team. So we always talk about small window and big window. Big window within this season, the next 30 games, you want to buy the Pacers. But small window, can you buy the Pacers here? Off the road trip, I don't know if this speaks to necessarily just an auto default letdown point, considering Indy did lose 2 out of 3 last year to Philly, and the line is moving towards Indy here. -3.5 is a strong figure. Of course, the Sixers are on an L3, and they're in a revenge game because Indy did win the last game last year. So again, you're looking at what we call a merge spot where there's just great points to either side of the game. I could really make an argument for either side of this game. It's really tough to cap.
Yeah, I could make an argument for Indy because we know that they've been lackluster. And I told you guys, I said the Sixers are finna go on a losing streak. When they lost Embiid, they've lost 3 straight games. I said this, they're due to come down. They're not the number 1 team in the East. So that's what scares me here because we knew that the Pacers were due to regress to the mean, regress positively, and we knew that the Sixers would negatively regress. So you're right about that. But it still doesn't talk out of the spot, though. Coming back to the house, 4-game road trip. Then you leave the house again on another road trip. It's a terrible spot for the Pacers. It's one that I'd be looking at the road team pretty much every time. That's the only way I look at this one. When you have that team coming off road trip, heading right back out, you look towards the away team and that one. It's just a funky mental spot with the family, everything, taking care of everything at the house. Don't be surprised Sixers get this win, Shark. Let's go to the next game. We're going to the streets of Orlando here, man. Might have to go to the beach one time. Magic 1-5 straight up and against the spread at the house. The Wizards been red hot. There are only 3-2 on the road, 8-3 in the season. The top seed in the East over there, Shark. No Bradley Beal in this game. I believe his father passed away, so rest in peace. But what you think about this one, Shark? Official play?
No, I thought I was going to drop an official on this one, but I'm not. I would lean Orlando here, but again, there's just contaminating points. Obviously, without Bradley Beal in there, it just throws the whole game out of whack. We could get the strong guys model. I think Sean Puffy Combs might be sanctioning a private jet with his ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez, for a 6 p.m. banquet-sanctioned locker room event here with flamingo ice luges and champagne. I think maybe I'm forecasting my day, too, here. Beautiful college football Saturday. But anyway, that being said, Magic come in here in a spot where the line is connecting with them. 131-116 Washington, the last one in Orlando last year. High-scoring game, too, which is actually an indicator of this game coming towards Orlando on this total. We talk about this all the time. When the total moves in a different direction, too, they're not only telling you that the game will be a different ATS side, but that the flow of the game will be different as an indicator to why the ATS side might cover. When the Orlando Magic cover home games, there's only been one, I believe, against the Utah Jazz, 107-100. It was a low-scoring game. And I think this total plummeting to 203.5 off, again, a 247 final last year in Orlando, is telling you this is going to be a low-scoring game, and it would lean towards Orlando here on this number. Again, unfortunately, without Bradley Beal, we always do talk about this. The teams have trouble motivating when the other players are the best players of the other team are not in the lineup. It's just they just can't bring the emotional energy to compete. Of course, the Magic are coming off a blowout loss to the Nets, but that doesn't necessarily mean an auto bounce back. Jay made the comment the other day. They have bounced back more often than not the third game. They play 2 bad ones in a row, then they play a good one. So the numerical lean here would be the Magic, but there's just too many things going on here.
No, that's a good point. You know what? This is one where you have one of the worst teams, in my opinion, and they don't really get many wins. I don't think that they're really prone to the Ciroc on ice. And I think if you like the Magic before that, knowing Bill out, it only helps, in my opinion. Like, I don't think the Magic are like, oh, Bill's not there. They're not going to get many wins this season. You know what I'm saying? And they're coming off a 33-point loss at the house. It's the last game of a 5-game homestand. You have to win this game. You're losing the next couple, and then maybe they may look ahead to a revenge game with the Nets after getting smacked. But they're getting smacked by Atlanta. They're getting smacked in a revenge spot versus the Knicks as well. So they're losing their next 2 games by at least double digits. I think they should come out here with a representative effort. I think that the Wizards been way too high, in my opinion. They're missing Beal. This is a funky spot for them. They're off 2 days rest as well. They're 0-4 against the spread last 4 or 2 days rest. So they're kind of out of rhythm, in my opinion, without one of their better players, even though he's been somewhat struggling. I know the Magic aren't super strong at the house, but this is one where, like I say, if you like the numbers, everything, sure, I think that you can only like it more. I mean, it's a good public fade on the weekend as well. Short number with the favorite. All the public is on the Wizards here. The line's going down 4.5 to 4. So I guess what I'm saying, I'm almost talking myself into the Magic. I'm not taking this game, but it's Magic or nothing for me here. That's the only way I'll be looking at this one, Shark. Let's go to the next game, man. Another bottom feeder team. It's tough to make money with the bottom feeders, guys. I'll be honest with you. There will be spots to take them, but right now, the way my look has been going, I don't want to back them. So I can see the Magic getting done. I'm staying off. Next one, Pelicans. Oh, good God. The New Orleans Pelicans. I'm not even sure why we talk about this game. These motherfuckers 1-12 on the season, Shark. 0-6 at the house, straight up, man. I mean, they were favored 4.5 versus the Thunder. Got smacked up. They covered versus last night versus the Nets. Sorry to everyone that had Nets. Might say the has tough, man. But the Grizzlies here off of Smack City, they got smacked last night. What do you think here, Shark? They should bounce back in New Orleans, right? This is a team that made the trade. Steven Adams versus Valanciunas.
Yeah, absolutely. On a suddenly not so casual. Saturday, November 23rd, 13th, 2021. We go to
November 13th. My God.
I'm in a time warp right now. We're hanging out. We go to the Smoothie King Center, visitors locker room. Memphis -3. I booked it 2 hours ago. Official play, only play of the day. Top graded spot. A lot of things going on here, and really, really good environmental analysis. Grizzlies do come in here on a 3rd and 4 home road back-to-back off a blowout last night. But when you look at the context of that loss, they were so awful last night. Most of their starters only played 25 minutes. John Morant had the top minutes total there with 32 minutes. They won't be fatigued here. They also had a layoff before this little cluster, so they're not going to be fatigued here. It's really an irrelevant point. And if you go back to early season, they're actually 2-0 in a 3rd and 4 back-to-back scenario. They did cover at the Lakers by a hook, and they won outright off a blowout loss to Portland at Golden State the following night. I think they function very well here. Also, the line is not short. Last year, New Orleans did lay points twice to them before a ridiculous 9.5 number late season when New Orleans had no players, when Memphis finally did beat New Orleans. That brings me to the point. New Orleans has owned Memphis in the John Morant, Zion Williamson era. Of course, Zion's not in the lineup, but that is ripe in their mind when a team has owned them, particularly within the same age gaps. Memphis was 0-3 ATS last season against New Orleans, and we talked about this last night when Dallas covered against the Spurs. Dallas was prerequisitely 0-3 ATS coming to the matchup with the Spurs. When you find a team, particularly in the same division, in the same general age group with a rivalry going on, who's 0-3 ATS coming in, I think it speaks to Memphis really turning up here. You look at the Pelicans. The Pelicans are also on a 3rd and 4 back-to-back off of a representative effort, a cover against the Nets. And if you look at what the Pelicans have been doing, they're actually 3-0 ATS their last 3 home games against the East. They covered against the Hawks 102-99. They covered against the Knicks 123-117, and then just covered against the Nets 122-112. In between that point, the Sacramento Kings came in there and laid 1 point and covered. And they also did not cover against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So they're showing better functionality against the East, which again, I think is qualifier where the East doesn't come in there and particularly care. I don't think this line is short. I think this is very sharp. It's intelligent. It's a strong figure for Memphis. I think Memphis gets in here and really dominates this game by at least 7 points.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and you're right. So the Grizzlies did win the last game, but the Pelicans are 6-0 against the spread the last 6. It's crazy, and I mean, obviously, even before that one Grizzlies win, they were 5-0. So you're exactly right. They obviously got to see an opportunity to clean up here. They're off 2 straight losses. A pathetic effort from the get-go. I mean, that's not the way the Grizzlies are built, even though they're not necessarily. I can't say. I think they got a tad worse this year. Obviously, they're still playing without Dillon Brooks, which they sat him out in the first game back-to-back. He's probably playing tonight, should get him in there. I like the Grizzlies with you as well. I mean, can never talk you out of betting against the Pelicans right now. You're exactly right. Even though they're on a 9-game losing streak, they had a very representative effort last night. I was watching the game. Them motherfuckers was playing hard. And I'm watching it. Whenever a team is on the first game of back-to-back, I'm flipping towards between the Grizzlies game and the Pelicans game. I just have to watch to see how the team plays. The Grizzlies had no energy. The Pelicans had a lot of energy. Like they were really they came to play versus the Nets. It was a huge step up spot for them. Now you get the letdown game. Even though the Pelicans do play a lot better at the house, these guys are in shambles, man. Without Brandon Ingram and without Zion, like, oh boy, it's gonna be tough out here. I actually didn't think they were too bad of a team, but without those 2 top guys, they just tend to let go of the ropes at some point. Grizzlies probably come and clean them up here, Shark. I like them first half and full game. It's a cleanup spot for the Grizz here, my guys. It's cash shit. Let's go to the next game here, man. We're going to the streets of Toronto, not Tampa Bay, but actual Toronto. You dig what I'm saying? And you see it. These motherfuckers laying 9.5, laying 10. I like the Raptors. They play hard. You got a really sticky defense. I'm not laying no 10 points with them. No, I'm sorry. I must say, though, the Pistons right now, the Pistons maybe would cover. It's crazy because there's one player that's out, and it'll change a lot what the Pistons do. Kelly Olynyk. If they had him in this game, call me crazy, I'd be all over his shit. But without him, I actually think the Pistons are actually going to look a whole lot worse now than even with Cade Cunningham and the rest of the guys. Just a sneaky injury that a lot of people may not pay attention to, but it's actually big for the Pistons and where they play off the bench, Shark. What you looking at? Do you trust the Raptors here minus double digits?
This is a tough spot. It's a really sharp line. The Raptors did lose all 3 to Detroit last year somehow. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but they did. They lost all 3, and they were 0-3 ATS. So from that standpoint, I would only look to the Raptors to clean them up. But then I look at what the Raptors are doing. They're in a real tough sandwich spot. I believe they go on the road after this. It's a one-off at home in between trips. And again, Detroit's a very uninspiring opponent here, 2-9, 1-5 away. I do think the triple revenge aspect does hold some weight. You got, guys like Fred Van Vliet and these boys. They remember that stuff. They don't want to lay down to Detroit again. And Detroit is on the 3rd and 4th back-to-back spot off a blowout loss at Cleveland last night. The only time that Detroit has bounced back in that spot off a 3rd and 4 final leg spot, it was a home game against Brooklyn, 96-90. I think traveling road is different, obviously, than home. And I think the lean would be Toronto to just clean them up. But again, it's a really sharp figure. The last line was on the road in Detroit last year in a loss -5.5. And this came home and opened up at 8.5. That is the stock 3 that we don't like to see, because what that suggests is that it's razor sharp. I think this game will be final somewhere between 6 and 9 points.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you why. So there's always some extra motivation for the Pistons coach to play the Raptors. He had, I believe they had the number 1 seed or something like that. Or I believe like they lost the championship. He got coach of the year. That's what it was. They had like a number 1 seed, had a really good season, got coach of the year. Then they fired him, Dwayne Casey, for the Raptors. So he always has something like it even possibly could have been like a look ahead spot. It's tough like for your whole team to have a look ahead spot for your coach, but you'd be surprised it does happen. They absolutely laid down last night versus the Cavs, even without Sexton. And I believe one of their guys, Stevens went out in that game as well. One of those guys off the bench that play really hard for the Cavs. They only scored 78 points. I mean, I know the Cavs are a damn good defensive team, but what are we doing here? I could definitely see them bouncing back tonight versus the Raptors. I like the Raptors. I like what they're doing. But as you say, funky spot, 2 games on the road, big win versus Philly. Now you're back at the house after a couple of days off. And then you head back on the road. I don't necessarily like the spot. They're laying 10. They will probably more than likely win the game. I'm not laying 10 points with the Raptors with that offense, in my opinion. And with Dwayne Casey, he will always have revenge going up against the Raptors, my God. Just a little token for you. But next game up, let's go to the streets of Cavaliers. And, man, I'll tell myself, and it's a short number. I know the Cavs been playing nice, but the Celtics have called a win, called a wind with the D on the end. I hated the fact that the game went to overtime. It was a huge win versus the Bucks. I still don't see them losing to the Cavs. I don't want to take it, man. The Cavs have been hot, surprisingly, but I think the Sexton injury and losing Stevens last night will catch up to them. This is the 3rd game in 4 nights for them as well, but they're at the house. The Celtics out on the road. It's a tough spot, Shark, but I still lean Celtics. Celtics here.
Very tough. Very, very tough. And I think that's a theme on this board. Most of these games have extreme counter narratives in either direction. It's very difficult to cap today. It just happens that way. And oftentimes it does happen off of a good board. It's very hard to back up a great board with another great board. They usually are spaced out 4 to 6 days in between. But coming in here, the Cleveland Cavaliers have actually beaten Boston 2 in a row. You get a double revenge game for Boston, so there's some added motivation there. But again, both teams are on 3rd and 4 back-to-backs. And comically, both have functioned well on 3rd and 4 back-to-backs. Boston is 2-0 ATS on the road, an outright win at Miami with emphasis, and an overtime win against Charlotte. And I go to that game against Charlotte. I think this game could be like that. I don't know if it's going to be 140 to 129 in double overtime, but I could see this game hovering right around the money line and potentially going to overtime tonight. I don't think the Cavs are going to necessarily lay down. I think the line indicates it. Obviously, Boston at only 2.5 now. I think potentially sharp action coming in on Cleveland. I don't look at the market splits, but I think there's just counter narrative on either side of this game. This is nothing that I would ever put money on either side here.
Exactly. If they didn't play again, like the Celtics played this, they play again in 2 days on the 15th. That's the funky spot for me. I'll tell you, the Celtics are rolling right now. You see it. They've won 4 out of the last 5. They covered 5 straight. A really good game last night versus the Bucks. Obviously, there was a step-up spot. Unfortunately, it went into overtime. I could see, even though the Celtics are nothing for me here, I could see scenarios where they drop this one off a huge win and some back-to-back with travel, and then they clean up the Cavs in the next game. So that'll definitely be what I'll look for regardless. I'm going to watch this game. Whoever loses, I'll likely be on them in the next spot, simply put. So I could definitely see the Celtics dropping this one, come back in the next one, but I still lean Celtics in this game. I still think that those injuries for the Cavs will show at some point. The Cavs are way too hot, in my opinion. They've covered 7 straight games. So even though the Celtics have figured some shit out, the Cavs, I know they look way better at some point. I'm telling you guys, the Sexton and the Stevens injuries will show up for the Cavs. May not be tonight, could be the next game. Tough game, though. Tough game, man. I must say. Last game up, Timberwolves versus Clippers going to the streets of LA. Man, the Timberwolves smacked the shit out of them. Lakers last night. The line was low for a reason, man. Lakers up by 11 at the end of the first quarter. At the end of the first half, man, they was up by 5, I believe. Timberwolves just smacked City that second half. What you think about this one, Shar? You think the Timberwolves have anything left? I'll be honest. I really hope the Clippers win tonight. That's all I gotta say. Some looking real good for tomorrow.
This is also brutal. We've been saying this for weeks now. I mean, we are a couple weeks into the season, which is a nice thing to say. But we have been saying this. The Timberwolves should be better than they've been. They've had a lot of tight losses in the last 10 games, a lot of non-covers, a lot of back doors. You do look at this, though. The Clippers have just absolutely owned the Wolves in the last 2 seasons. They're 5-0 ATS, and they're all blowouts. And it's hard to assume that this could go the other direction, considering the Wolves did just play an unbelievably efficient second half last night. I believe the third quarter was 40-12. And, I mean, you come back here, back-to-back in LA. You know, these guys don't strike me as being huge partiers. I know Karl Anthony Towns is definitely not. I don't really know too much about Anthony Edwards off the court.
Anthony Edwards might like to party, though.
Yeah, I was going to say he's kind of fly. I like him. I could party with that guy. But, we don't really know the mental makeup of these Wolves in any detail. But just in general, LA overnight is a tough hangout spot, tough travel. And you come back against the Clippers here. Again, you get a double revenge game. You get 5 in a row against. 5 in a row for me is potentially enough to just continue a trend where it's maybe not going the other direction.
Maybe they own them.
And the line is on them. I mean, it was 2.5 in Minnesota, and this is up to 6.5, 7. So it's showcasing 1.5 to 2 points of extra strength there. Again, I don't love fading the Wolves here, but the numbers on the Clippers, and maybe they do just own them. Definitely a no play.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. The Clippers have been hot, man. I said it versus the Heat. These motherfuckers been way too hot. They came back versus the Heat, and that's what they've been doing, right? They're at the house for a while. They've been taking advantage of these teams on the back-to-back. That's exactly what they did. Took advantage of, I believe, Blazers on the that was the first game of back-to-back for the Blazers. But back-to-back for the Heat there. I believe it was, back-to-back for the Hornets. So they've been taking advantage of these back-to-back spots. They're at the house for a while. It's going to be a tough game. I'd still lean Wolves plus the 7. It's not even the double revenge. It's that ever since they got Russell back, I really think, because if I'm not mistaken, those past couple games, or I know one of them for sure, Russell wasn't in there, just real, because of the last one that they lost by 20. They were up. They came out with an effort, and they didn't have Russell in there. Y'all think Russell don't matter. I know some people don't care too much for D'Angelo Russell, but him, Anthony Edwards, and Karl-Anthony Towns, they click. You see what I'm saying? So now that he's back, I know it's a back-to-back. I'd like to see a Clippers win and Timberwolves cover. I'd like to see a Clippers win by 4 here, and then I can fade them tomorrow, my guys. So I think the Timberwolves lose this game, but they keep it close. If not, win. But I'm definitely fading the Clippers tomorrow. I can definitely tell you that. But that's the card today, my guys. Nice little 30 minutes with my guy Shark. What's the official, Shark? What are we doing here?
Grizzlies -3 on the road at New Orleans. Official play 1 unit. And we went through it before. There's a lot going on in this game. But the major point here is the Grizzlies have played a sequence of really poor games in a row. Last night was the culminating point, just an absolute blowout loss. But the point on that, they didn't play their guys that much. They shouldn't be that fatigued. And New Orleans is also off a 3rd and 4 back-to-back, having covered against the Nets last night and covered 3 in a row against the East. Not as good against the West. And historically, in the Ja Morant era, the Pelicans have owned the Grizzlies. So I think this comes the other direction. I think the Grizzlies bounced back off last night with emphasis. I think they could win this game comfortably. Memphis -3, 1 unit. J Money, close them out.
Yes, sir, man. I'm gonna go with the Grizzlies -4, my guys. I'm gonna go with the updated line. We're gonna go with Grizzlies -4. I'll ride with it. I like the Grizzlies in the first half as well. I lean the Heat, lean Magic, lean 76ers, lean Celtics, lean Timberwolves, my guys. That's the show today. It's cash. I got some Grizzly pants, and I'm finna go. They're not actual Grizzly pants, but if the real ones know. I'm gonna throw these motherfucking Grizzly pants on real quick, man. Let's cash some tickets. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, my guys. We out, man. We back tomorrow. Some top looks tomorrow for sure. Plenty of looks, man. Let's cash these tickets. We out. Y'all hit the like button, subscribe. Go and follow us on Twitter at Sharks in Sports, not Shark, at Sharks in Sports, and follow me as well at J Money is Money. Shark, real quick. What's the college football plays, man? People was asking.
UTEP -1 revenge game, catching North Texas off 2 wins. Great spot there. G-Tech fading BC in a revenge game. G-Tech off an L3, hasn't won a home game in 6 weeks. Great line number. Arkansas fading LSU off the Bama game in a revenge game for Arkansas on a good line number. And Minnesota going into Iowa +4.5. Iowa way too hot. Minnesota revenge game. Great travel spot for them. They love to travel in the Big Ten. Top 4 plays. Sharky Waters Nation, 9 words of lifestyle. Ride the wave or get out of the water. Let's go.
Exactly. Y'all hit the like button for my guy giving out those college football picks, man. Go and follow him on Twitter. The picks are posted as well, man. Let's cash these Grizzlies, my guys. We out.